I'm Brad Heath, and welcome to our Ride Along series. I'm super excited. We decided to go visit some of our customers and just ask questions of, hey, why did you order a trailer from us? How long have you been in horses? And really just to get into the life of horse owners and share that with you guys. So come on, enjoy the ride. We look forward to it. I'm Brad Heath, and welcome to our Ride Along series. Today, myself and my crew, Caleb and David, we are in Chester, South Carolina, and looking forward to hanging out with Mike and Shelley. They've been so kind to allow us to come to their property, and we'll talk about horses, we'll talk about horse trailers, why they purchase, things they like, things they don't like, and we'll just have some fun today. So come on over.
Brad,
Good to see you, Mike.
it is a pleasure. It's been a long time we've been trying to meet you.
Looking good. Now, this particular trailer, David, we've got a hydraulic jack here. Mike, this is a 8-foot bed or 6.5?
This is a 6.5 like that.
Yep, 6.5. There's plenty of clearance back here, even with the tailgate now. Long bed would be the same thing. You'd still have clearance, but I love the hydraulic jacks.
And I got my custom lining up tool available at any hardware store. As soon as it hits that.
You think these are hold? They look kind of small.
Factory General Motors stuff.
Man, that's some heavy duty. That's a heavy duty clevis pin. You know this, Caleb?
Oh, what?
All right, cables are hooked up. Coupler is latched as a down position and locked. That's the breakaway emergency battery. So if the trailer were to become disconnected from the tow vehicle, it'll actuate the brakes on the trailer. What's the height and weight on these guys?
They're both about 15 hands.
Yeah.
You know, probably both around 1,000 pounds.
Sure.
But you can see they go on nice and calm,
Yeah.
and it was easy. We were neither one of us were in the jeopardy of getting hurt.
Yeah.
That's the things we like about this.
I've had folks that are like, well, I've been hauling horses for 35 years. I've never had a problem. And I said, well, you've never had a problem until you have a problem, right? You know, you just have to be prepared for that stuff, or at least have designs that give you the best chance of being safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, the best chance for you and your horse.
Yeah.
Well, and I just like how they are not at all nervous about this trailer.
Right.
Nothing about it scares them.
They're ready.
Yeah, they're ready. They're like, okay, they know, of course now they know the drill by now. They know the trailer.
I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about you and your property. How long have you lived here? That sort of thing.
Great. Well, I'm Mike Trout. This is my wife, Shelley. We've lived at this property for about 16 years.
Oh, well.
Yeah. It was my sister's before that. So it's been in the family since sometime in the 80s, late 80s. Originally had an airfield on it. This was a runway that we converted into pasture land.
So we're on the runway.
We are on the runway.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't get any planes through.
Yeah.
No planes, just horses.
Yeah.
It's about, I think we have about 15 acres
Okay.
with about 7 cleared in pasture. We've got 4 horses, and we have a beautiful double D trailer.
We love our trailer. Yes.
And who is this lovely lady?
My name is Shelley Trout,
Okay.
and I have been around horses for 47 years now.
Wow.
So I got, good amount of experience.
So I'm involved in the fire service. I've been a volunteer firefighter. I had an opportunity to go to a technical large animal rescue class. And it was I think a 3-day class, and it went over everything about rescuing animals, and part of that was horse trailer rescues.
Yeah.
Right.
And they started showing slides of horses falling through the floor of trailers, horses like the trailers falling apart when they get into a wreck. And the instructor kept going, and she's a well-known national instructor. She's like, if you are in an aluminum trailer, she's like, you are taking your horse's life in your hands. And I'm like in the class going,
Who is this lady? I need to get her name and go hug her neck. She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
I can get you her name.
Okay.
Yeah.
She runs these
She was
classes
a
all
vet.
throughout the country.
Yeah.
And she said she looked at a lot of the construction of trailers when she went go to horse shows and as the on-call vet for the show. And she's like, I'd see so many pieces of the trailer that I just was like, I can't believe,
Right.
You're carrying, people spend a lot of money on horses and you spend a lot of money on your equipment. But she said they put them in these trailers that, she's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
the thing is going to fall apart the second they have one wreck, which you're never expecting to have one.
Yeah.
But I have had friends who've gotten sideswiped
Of
on
course.
the highway.
We've had them.
I know it's happened to people. I mean, we've been very
We had one
fortunate.
in Florida not too long ago, and
Yeah.
she had a 3-horse reverse load. Horses walked away, trailers on its side, vehicles completely totaled. I mean, it was a mess.
Yeah.
But the trailer held up very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Held up great.
Well, and thanks to the internet, we started researching. And,
Yeah.
when we started looking at things of, you can go down to a typical horse trailer dealer and they'll say, here's the trailer.
Right.
This is what you're going to get. And if you don't like it, you can go kick rocks because this is what we're selling. And we had very specific,
And it's the best.
Oh, of
Well,
course it's the
it's the best.
It's the best, yeah.
Why is it the best? I'm not sure. I just know it
I'll
is.
tell you what they would say. They'd say, well, this one has a television and it's 50 inches.
Right.
It was always things that weren't important. It was, our interior has this mahogany inlay with the television pops out from underneath on a motor.
It's like, well, that's beautiful, but
I really don't care about that.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's nice, it's beautiful, but
We work with some folks
that.
that are they're too focused on the human aspect
Yeah.
and the what color the cabinets are and this, and I'm like, we can make all that stuff
Yeah.
look like whatever we want it to look like.
Right.
But when we have a client that's really focused on horse safety
Yeah.
and the comfort of the horse, and we make the trailer about the horse, then that's a good customer for us, because there's a lot of companies that build kind of subpar horse area stuff with a really good-looking RV camper in the front.
Right.
So
We've been in those trailers.
And we've been in those trailers,
And,
yeah,
and we've talked to all of our friends when we will go to camping and there's a group of could be 10 people around the campfire and they all start sharing stories. And ours are usually horse related of Shelley falling into the water.
right,
But
right,
a lot of theirs were like, oh gosh, we were at so and so and the slide out wouldn't go back in.
Right.
It fell off the track. So we had to go find and borrow straps and strap the slide on back on. And I'm not necessarily saying that slide on's a horrible thing, but we made a decision that I don't want a slide on. And the trailers we were all looking at, well, you have to have a slide out. And
Yeah.
I don't want a slide out. So when we found your website, and it was the only place where, when we think about like ordering something, like when you build a house, and you could say, this is what I want. This is what I want my house to look like. This is what I want. I want the kitchen here. I want this in the kitchen. You're the only ones that were like, yeah, we can do that. And everything I threw at you said, I want that. I want the light on the fender that I can see in my mirror that tells me that the lights are still working.
right.
And the answer was always, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I want the extra water tank. I want it underneath it, and I want this one. Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't want a slide out. Well, you didn't check the box, so you're not going to get a slide out.
Right. Yeah.
It was the only place where you could actually build that trailer by checking boxes. You knew exactly how much it was going to cost. But then if you wanted anything else, you just go,
add it
Brad,
or subtract it.
can you do this?
You're right.
And you were like, Yeah, I can do it.
Right.
And it was effortless. It was convenient. There were no surprises. There were no shocks at all.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful.
So we never communicated by phone. It was
No.
all through email.
It was all through email.
Yeah. I'd like to, and we still do today, we do scheduling of phone calls. Caleb does a lot of those, and we record every single call. And then with the artificial intelligence these days, you know, it types all the transcript out for you.
Yeah.
And because, you know, with verbal, we forget.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time I get back home today, I will have forgotten 80% of what we talked about.
I'm Mike, and this is Shelley.
Exactly. How you doing? You doing all right? You guys doing good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, the goal is to have the written notes, and we probably corresponded for a few months.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah. I mean, we knew it was a
Over
big decision.
50 emails or more.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a
Yeah.
lot of detail to keep up with. And I just try to have those conversations. And Mike says, hey, can you put on an extra tank? And I'm like, yeah, we can do an extra tank. And then I hang up the phone and get sidetracked with something else.
Right.
And I've forgotten about the extra tank, you know. And he's like, well, we talked about it. So it really is important. We have some pushback. Some folks are like, oh, I don't want to do anything on email. And I'm like, well, you know, we're really good about delivering trailers built exactly the way they're supposed to be built.
Yes.
And if we have the written record, because not only do I have to understand what you guys are wanting, then my engineer has to understand it, who has to convey those details to the weld guys, to the trim guys, to these guys,
Right.
to the living quarter and the cat. It's a lot, you know,
lot
a
of
lot to go
steps,
through.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for.
It was a lot, but that was the amazing part, is that no matter how complicated it was and how long it took, it was seamless.
Yeah.
And it was a process that had no bumps at all. You know, when we got to the living quarter side, it was, here's your choices.
Right.
You can do anything you want. You want to have, here's some patterns, here's some sample colors.
Right.
And everything was just easy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which was great.
Did you guys look at a lot of other brands, or you just pretty much stuck with us?
We after his rescue class, and after experience that we've had in the past with
Sure.
our older trailers,
Because we had two
And
other living quarters.
we had two other
Mhm.
and they were okay. One I was disappointed because it was starting to rot very quickly. It had a steel frame with aluminum skin, but the steel and we try to take very good care of our trailer.
Sure.
You know, like if the horses pee in it, we rinse it right out. We always clean up the poop after every ride, because we know if you take care of it,
It'll last.
it'll last.
Yeah, this thing looks great.
And yeah, I mean,
It's going on,
it's
what,
a
5, 6 years
5-year-old
old, yeah.
trailer, and it looks, yeah,
Mhm.
so it's worth the effort to just take the few minutes after you're
Right.
done with your ride, done with your trip, just clean it out. But anyways, so we knew things that we liked and disliked about trailers we'd had in the past, friends' trailers that we had looked at. We had gone to horse expos and looked at different trailers there. But this class was a big driver, because these horses are like family members to
Sure.
us.
Right.
And it's as much as we try to focus on safety in a vehicle, it was like, well, they need to be safe too, if God forbid something happens. So, which you don't know, going down the road, you take a chance. So, on making it back home safely. So
Yeah.
there was plenty of things he learned at the class, like the rumber flooring, because we were shocked when we pulled up the mats in our old aluminum trailer, and it was starting to pit, and it was only like a couple.
Was it an
years old.
aluminum floor?
It was an
The
aluminum
interlocking.
floor.
So we're launching a book in I think about 10 days, and we go through not trying to pitch a particular brand of trailer ours, but
Right.
really like your speaker did, of
Yeah.
talking about floor, walls, roof, construction, sidewalls, interior,
Padding,
exterior,
padding.
what are the nuts and bolts of how a trailer is made, and the positive aspect of it or the negative aspect of it. And so hopefully to just equip users with the knowledge of, being able to make an informed decision and not whatever the sales guy at the lot says, well, this is great because it's got the 51-inch TV and the slide out, you know?
Yeah, and it's like, well, that's beautiful, but yeah.
You know, the whole here's the price of the trailer, and you go and you're like, all right, well, there's like no padding inside.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, well, a padding package is an extra $800. It's like, you know, we had, I think on both of our last trailers, we had to buy padding and install our own additional padding.
Yeah.
This is the first one where it's like,
oh, it's already done.
Wow, you padded everything.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
It's done. It's like, all right, I don't have to go shopping, and
Yeah. Any features we had on that you were looking for specifically, or nothing comes to mind?
Just let me tell you about SafeTack Reverse.
Okay.
So we've always, you know, the internet is a wonderful tool because you can like research all sorts of things. And we've had horses in stock trailers, and you tend to watch what they do. And when we saw a trailer that was reverse load, we're like, that's exactly what, you know.
Yeah.
That's the way they want to travel.
Right.
But then the idea of the tack room
Yeah.
mounted on the door and having this massive space where the horse can look at that. We've had problem loading horses.
You almost broke your arm.
Yeah, I mean, horses that don't want to go through this tiny
narrow.
Yeah.
We call it the birth canal door.
Yeah.
It's the birth canal door. It's
Yeah.
trying to shove a 1,200-pound horse through a space that's this wide.
Yeah.
With
You know?
someone leading it.
Yeah. With a human in front of
I
it.
survived the birth canal on multiple occasions.
But yeah, he had an older horse panic and a long time ago, and yeah, he almost got his arm pinned and up against. It was scary.
Wow.
It was scary.
But we had a horse.
Those are all the things that kind of, you know, when we all of a sudden saw your design, we were like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We had a horse that wouldn't back out.
Yeah.
Right.
Would
And-
not. You could try everything. We had, you know, trainers help us. Everybody. You know, this horse is like, nope,
Yeah.
not gonna do it.
Now he would turn around and leap out of the trailer, but he wouldn't.
But with the rear tack in the way, it was hard to do that, or
Right. Yeah.
almost impossible.
Yeah.
So along comes a trailer with a ramp on the side that gives you two choices of how to get it in and out, and it gives you a lot of flexibility. So we haven't had to use. We've used this ramp before, but our horses have been trained to just walk in the trailer and turn around, and especially the way we keep our trailer under cover, so we'll load them under cover. We just open up the back and they get in and turn around.
Yeah.
And
We
it's
have
done.
used the ramp a couple times, and we had, you know, I think someone parked too close behind us, and it was like,
So have you noticed a difference in your horses loading between the older trailers, or how?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It seemed to improve.
Oh yeah.
Well, and we got the
much
camera
more.
system so that we can watch them throughout the whole trip.
Right.
And immediately heads go down, licking and chewing starts.
They're happy.
They're happy. They're
happy.
Yeah.
calm.
Yeah.
You know, we'll go over railroad tracks or something will happen, and she'll look down at the camera. She's like, "Am I there, all right?" Like, yeah, they didn't even feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is all great feedback. I had a customer out in Texas, Kathleen, we'll just call her Kathleen, but I remember her name. She's an attorney. In 2013. She reached out to me and she said, I love you guys' design. I like the rear swing out tack, but I want a reverse load. And I'm like, what's a reverse load? Reverse who? What? And so she was like, yeah, you can load through the side ramp and they can, you know, go either directions. And a lot of companies make reverse loads. They've been around a long time, probably since the 80s. And we started researching other reverse loads and found a lot of problems, safety issues, and how they're made for either horse or handler, just not a good layout to get the heck out of the way if you have a guy that spooks or what have you. So we sort of solved a lot of the associated problems with the reverse load. We were able to get a patent on some of the things that we did with it. So it's probably 80% of our sales today are the SafeTack Reverse. Clients love it. We have so many testimonial review after review after review of folks that said, oh, I'm getting this trailer because I have a problematic loader or a problematic hauler, and I'm really hoping that this is going to make a difference. And even one up in Ohio, I can't remember their name right now, but she sent a video. She's like, this horse used to take me an hour plus to load.
Wow.
And she's got a video. The horse is just walking on the double side ramp by himself in there as she closes the ramp. So, you know, a lot of folks ask, well, how do you know horses want to stand in reverse load? And I'm like, I've never asked a horse, but, you know, if you put one in like a stock trailer, untethered, they almost always turn at an angle, head facing toward the back, and they seem to be, you know, less stressed in that manner. So, for whatever reason, they do seem to like it. Yeah. Well, shoot, show us your horse trailer.
So first we got to undo this fancy Velcro. And that's going to release it. There's a little lock on the side. As you can see up here, there is a roll up and roll down. So you just basically make sure that's in the roll down position. But this one is unlocked as well. And that's taken care of. And we just use our handy dandy hook. We'll hook into that. And then just tighten this. And that is it. Instant shape.
So one of the nice things about this is it comes with a ramp. We've added additional DOT conspicuity striping because I'm a safety nerd. Doesn't cost a lot of money.
Probably not a bad idea.
Goes down easy. It's got a full width hinge, so it goes up and down easy. All the switches are here. So this has a load light, along with, we have the optional camera system that has both a backup camera and a camera inside.
Have you had any problems with those cameras?
Not at all.
They've worked, okay. Yeah, we've been getting really good service from them.
So this is probably the best, hands down, the best feature of a Double D is the SafeTack Reverse. So on a normal trailer, depending on the type, you have this tiny space to fit through with the horse. But with this, the tack room is built in to the door. So what's nice about it is that you have this massive space that you can load the horses with.
I like the extra stuff.
We've added some additional storage for grooming supplies and shovels and whatnot. But this is all hinged, padded. We've had some strange horses that do strange things, so we've added additional padding.
What were they doing?
Rubbing,
Yeah,
biting.
just being angry.
Being a horse, right?
Right.
The beauty is this can be done both ways.
If you are forward facing, you would load from the rear, horse faces that direction.
Yes.
If you're reverse facing, you would load through the side ramp and horse head would be this direction.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now we've trained our horses that we can bring them in forward and then they turn
And then
around
they spin.
and then just back in.
Okay.
Complete rumber floor. It's tongue and groove. Never had an issue washing everything out in here.
Do you have any have you had issues with slippage? Horses. See,
No.
we have some folks that'll say, "Hey, a rumber's slick," and the horses fall down.
No.
And then we have folks like you guys who are like, "Nah, it works great."
In fact, we don't even put down, the only time we'll put shavings down is if we're going on a 3-hour or a really long trip that we want to absorb some of that urine. For most trips, we just load them straight on the rumber.
Are they shoed? Your horse is shoed.
His horse is shod. My horse wears hoof boots. So
Okay.
yeah.
But what's nice about it is that it doesn't generate heat. It's a really nice floor as far as insulating properties, and it's really easy to clean out. But we've never had the problem slipping.
Okay.
And
That's good to know.
with typical trailering, you have plenty of opportunities where, like, all right, someone pulled out, you do an evasive maneuver. And what's nice about the camera system is that you look at the camera
And it's like, okay,
and
they're
they're
still
like,
okay.
yeah, they're still okay.
Right.
We don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
We've ordered the optional fans because we do live in the South and it gets hot.
It's hot.
And especially it's a very well ventilated trailer when you're moving. But if you're stuck in traffic, we do a beach ride in Myrtle Beach every year that has a lot of traffic. And when you're stopped in traffic, the fans are going. They oscillate. Those work out really well. There are 4 roof vents and all the windows open. It is really well ventilated in here.
Yeah.
Do you like the screens?
So we added the
Yes.
screens.
We added the screens. Because the only time they wear masks is like a fly mask is if we put the shavings down, because that was one thing he learned at the
To blow up
at the rescue class, was that the shavings tend to swirl up
in the eye.
and they can get in their eyes.
Mhm.
And so
That's a good
she
point.
suggested a fly mask, and she said if you don't have screens on the window, is that, oh, Janie's lying down. She suggested putting the screens up on the windows to help keep bugs and rocks from coming in.
And something even more important,
Yeah.
cigarettes.
Cigarettes.
Because
Yeah.
there were plenty of examples of people flicking a cigarette,
cigarette out
into the
and they go-
window
Yeah.
or just flicking it out their window,
Sure.
get sucked into the trailer.
Yeah.
What do we usually have on the bigger trailers is hay bags or hay troughs. That light's on fire and
Or
it
the
goes
shavings.
quickly.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't know if you saw that Facebook post. It went around. I think it kind of went viral. That showed that poor woman lost her horse in her trailer because the guy flicked
I did
the
not.
window.
I have seen that.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
No, I've
and-
not seen
yeah.
that.
So that's when we were like, we're glad we have screens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that makes a huge difference in here is it's 100% insulated.
Yeah.
And I tell folks that because a lot of folks are laser
Yeah.
focused on airflow. Airflow's great, you need it. But it really has to do more with what kind of material you're surrounding your guys with. That
Yeah.
makes the biggest difference on horse comfort than anything else. So
Yeah.
Right.
good.
We're down in the south. It gets very hot in the summertime.
Yeah.
The fiberglass roof, you can walk in here and it's cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we'll come in here and hide with them because it's so cool.
Yeah.
When you get done with a big ride.
But any of our other trailers that had a metal roof, it was like a radiator.
Yeah.
And
This
we
is
actually, on one of them, we glued up
Insulation,
styrofoam
to try and
panels
slow it
just to,
down.
and that all worked. But with this roof, never had an issue. It's always cool. It's white, so it reflects.
Right.
It does a fantastic job, and it never leaks. which is
Yeah,
always
it's one piece.
It's
It
one
literally
piece.
is one piece.
Yeah.
We pick it up in the factory with an overhead crane, and we sit it right on top of the structural wall upright, and then we bolt it down. So
Yeah.
it's really one piece roof.
Well, and that's why we have people who say, "Well, I got to reseal." It's just like an RV; they get that gray goop out,
Right,
and they're
right,
like, "I
right.
got to reseal my roof," and we just go, "If you bought a double D, you'd have one piece." And they're like, "What?" So they'll learn.
I do think if it sits out in the sun, direct sunlight, 10, 15 years, the gel coat
Yeah.
will deteriorate like a
Yeah.
boat if
It
it
starts
sits.
chalking.
Yeah, so you could get a new gel coat put on, which is very inexpensive. But with a shed like you guys have,
Well, we learned that lesson a long time ago when we went to sell our first trailer, and like, oh my gosh, it took
Yeah.
weeks just to clean the
Just
roof.
clean the roof.
And
Right.
it had that
we were like,
lichen on it and that mold, and
Yeah.
we bought a cover for the next one, and that was a pain to uncover and
It
cover.
is. It
So
is.
we just have the little shed overhang, and it keeps the sun off, and it keeps the debris off, and it's easy to clean.
nice.
So it works out really well. But you can see, padding. Nobody's doing this.
Yeah, I mean, we've had horses, that back out or step
yeah,
in and then rear.
Rear up their
Yeah.
head.
There's a rear header pad, so
Yeah.
you don't smack, because once you have a horse that's like, oh my gosh, I just hit my head, then it's a
Yeah.
problem. They've
Well,
got
no,
trauma.
Every time they go back to the trailer.
Correct.
they're
They
nervous.
associate it with, I don't want to get in there.
Right.
Yeah. All right. The human aspect. Yes. With the 51-inch television,
Motorized. That comes.
motorized. I won't crawl up in there, David. We'll just enough space for you guys. Maybe I will. Oh, this is sweet.
This is the double D difference.
Yeah, this is a good looking. We got soft walls on this, soft touch ceiling.
Oh, we love it.
Yeah.
The ducted airwork.
Did the wood duct around that.
Yep. No, we
Yeah,
had
my
the
guys are doing some good work.
what's the fan? The
Fantastic or
Max fan.
yeah,
Yeah.
Max
Thermostat
fan
control.
in the front, and then there's one in the bathroom as well.
have those been durable? The Max fan.
Yes.
Yeah, boy,
it-
they move some air.
It'll go.
Move some
It's
air.
like bi-directional and
Yep.
variable
Yes.
speed.
And you can set thermostat
Thermostat control.
Thermostat control.
Yeah, remote control.
It's got a remote on it.
It's a tripping fan.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
It
really
is.
fantastic because, especially if you're camping at a spot where it's like I really don't want to use the air conditioning. We're up in the mountains. It's nice and cool. You set that thing for a certain temperature, and
Yeah.
boom, it'll
Yeah.
show
Open
itself
the
up.
windows and it can.
Open the windows
pull
and,
some
and
air
get a
through.
draft. There's plenty of ventilation in this area. Having the ducted system, you don't have that. It's really nicely distributed. You don't have that like one
It's one spot.
piece that's blowing
Yeah.
at you. You can change things around. But when we designed it, Shelley had very specific. I want an area. I want a shelf here
Oh,
for
yeah,
my
yeah,
eyeglasses. And Brad said, "No problem."
Yeah.
I think there was originally something else that was supposed to there, and you're like, I want it open, so your cell phone chargers. She put in USB charging points.
Mm-hmm.
I want USBs there. I want USBs there. So just a lot of that customization
Yeah.
that you're not going to get anywhere else. So like you said before, this is what you're going to have. You're going to keep it. For example, there was never a cabinet here, but we said, this is a usable space. Can we put a cabinet here?
Right.
Look at that. You've been looking for those.
There they are.
And there it is, a cabinet there.
Let's see. This is a 10-foot short wall.
I think so, yeah.
This is one of the most popular layouts we do. It seems to be 10 and 13.
Yeah.
So the 10 without the slide, and then a lot of folks are doing the 13 with the slides. You can kind of L-shape your cabinet and get a little kick out, but it's another 3 feet of wheelbase
Yeah.
in addition to what you've got, because you can't move the axles any farther forward because of the side ramp.
Right.
So you do
Well,
have
that was the beauty of the
have to
10
swing
foot
out.
is that it still gave us a full refrigerator. Well, I'll call it a full.
Yeah.
It's not
The bigger one
It's
anyway.
not a dorm refrigerator.
Right.
It has a freezer on it. It has a lot of space. It still has the gas cooktop,
Yeah, the recessed.
the recessed gas cooktop. It still has the microwave oven. It still has a large sink.
Now you
Well,
had
we
at
added
one point
that
asked about the sink. You said the double sink that it came with. I think I remember when we talked.
You changed the sink?
We
Yeah.
changed
You
the-
mentioned
Or you put
that
a
y'all
different
didn't
sink.
like
Yeah.
the double sink.
Yeah.
And that was my
that was my
that was
choice.
her.
Okay.
That was my choice. I didn't like the double sink.
Really?
It was too small. It was way too small. I could barely.
Was it
clean
this?
anything.
Was it this size that cut out?
It was this
Yes.
size.
But just
cut out,
split.
Split.
Okay.
This sink is only, I think, like maybe a half an inch wider, but I liked the
You just like the open
openness.
space.
Yeah, because then I could actually have my hands in there, clean a dish or a pot, and yeah. So that was kind of more my.
I like the
personal
double one
preference.
because I can wash on one side and put my dishes drying on the other side. But
Yeah.
it's all
The only
personal
problem is that
preference.
we couldn't get like a
too
fry
small.
pan into that soap side.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we just
Yeah.
converted
So we
over to one
converted
big
over,
one.
Yeah.
What about headroom? Y'all have any trouble there?
No.
No.
Nice.
When I'm up
Yeah.
there, I'm generally asleep.
Right.
So it doesn't have any problems. But as far as headroom in the trailer is perfect. It's you're a bit taller than me.
6'2".
6'2".
Yeah.
Don't have an issue even with you're not even close to the air conditioning unit. Sitting in the couch that also converts into a bed. Never hit this. Always has plenty of room.
Yeah.
And then the bathroom. One of the nice things about the bathroom is that it's got a full. It's got an actual porcelain toilet, but it also has a
full shower. You know, that's, and you probably still would stand in there with no nose. You might have to bend down a little bit.
Maybe just a little, but I wouldn't hit the ceiling by any means.
Yeah. And then the nice thing is that there is access back out to the horse area. So if there was something that if you wanted to store stuff out there, you could still store it out there, grab it, and come back in.
What got you started in horses?
I literally was 3 years old, and I literally saw on TV some people riding, and
Right.
pointed at my mom, and I said, I want to do that. She was like, whims of a 3-year-old. Okay, sure. So she called around, finally found a farm that let me ride their little pony around,
Right.
and I was hooked.
Yeah. How about you, Mike? What got you started?
I had no idea what I was getting myself
Shelley.
involved in. I think she had sold her horse to pay for one book in college. We met in college and had no idea. She brought me home one day and I saw all these ribbons in her bedroom. I was like, oh, what are these for? She's like, dressage. I had no idea what that even was.
Right.
We ended up buying her a horse that was boarded somewhere. So I still wasn't really involved until I became a groom again, a different kind of groom. And I had to polish her boots and wipe the saliva off of Jake. That was our first horse together. And slowly learned that they are absolutely beautiful, but sometimes crazy creatures.
Yeah.
And when we moved to our first property that we had them on property, I got what was called the husband horse.
Okay.
And that was 20
some years ago, yeah.
So you've had horses ever since?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So started riding.
Yeah. Got them into it.
Any memorable stories to share if something comes up? Any good dirt that other folks shouldn't know about? And we won't broadcast it on the camera, but anything that stands out, you don't have to if you can't think of anything. It's no big deal.
Oh, gosh, Brad, there are like hundreds and hundreds of stories.
Yeah, give us a couple.
So when we first...
We're in no rush.
Shelley was doing jumping.
Yeah.
And
When I got out of college, I decided to go back into jumping. So.
And she didn't tighten her girth the best. So she jumped over. I'm watching her compete. And she jumps over this jump. And the saddle flips all the way around underneath the horse. And she falls off. And here I am.
Anyone watching?
Oh, there was
Everybody.
an event.
That's an event.
Huge event.
Everybody, yeah.
And I passed my first test because I had a decision. Do I go check on my wife, who is now laying on the ground, or do I catch the horse?
Right.
And I caught the horse. And she said, you did good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Any good stories you can share to embarrass Mike? Anything?
I don't know. It was embarrassing, but it's a good story.
All
That's
right.
why I wear a helmet. We were on a trail ride with some friends of ours, and they're up ahead, and we were going into, there was a group of trees, and we were about ready to go into this vineyard that the folks gave us permission to go ride around the perimeter in, which is always neat to see during different seasons how their grapes were coming along. And poor Mike, I always tell them, anytime you get on a horse, wear a helmet. I know some people are for or against.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen. Well, he was ahead of me, and we did not know that there was some branches hanging over the trail, and everyone was like, duck, 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 and we're like, okay. He did not duck enough. He thought he had ducked enough, and little did we know someone had snubbed the branch, and you couldn't see it because the leaves were covering it. And poor Mike, all of a sudden I saw him go woo back in the saddle. And we were all, and he's like, wow, and everyone's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And all of a sudden we look up and he's got a tree branch sticking out of his helmet with a big dent in it.
It looks like Bullwinkle.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we were.
But it didn't go past the helmet.
It didn't go
No,
no.
it did its job.
It did its job.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it put a dent in the helmet.
and it stuck the branch into the helmet.
And
I
it
mean,
stuck
it literally looked like I had antlers.
Wow.
Yeah.
But,
You guys are really helmet advocates then. I mean, I'm kind of
Yeah.
leaning that way now myself.
Yeah, yeah.
So since 3 years old and 27 years for you,
Sure.
what disciplines are you guys, or have you been in? What are you in now? Do you show, compete? What's happening? What have you been doing?
Haven't showed or competed in a long time. I used to do 100 jumper,
Mhm.
and then I was in dressage for a while. Went back to 100 jumper for a while, and then I just decided I wanted to have fun and go out on the trails after, we went out, as I said, this was early when he was learning how to ride, that we decided to go out on the trails. And then when we moved here, because unfortunately up in New England, trails are diminishing for horseback riders.
Right.
And when we made the decision to move down to South Carolina, we were excited to find all kinds of places. Our closest favorite is a half an hour away. There's another couple within an hour's reach. Within, I'd say 4 hours, you can find dozens and dozens of trails in this area, which is great for us.
Right.
Because now we have the Double D. We love to go camping and
Do
love to go
this.
explore. And
Roast marshmallows and
roast
stuff.
marshmallows, yeah.
Do you guys have friends that go with you? I'm sure
Yes.
it's a pretty tight-knit community of,
Yes.
hey, we're going here for the weekend.
Yeah.
You guys,
Who's
right?
available?
Yeah.
Who wants to go?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've experienced that. We've had friends. Well, you talk about. You were asking about stories. I had one little horse. He's no longer with us, but he unfortunately passed away from cancer. But anyways, we were out with some friends of ours, and we had never been to this one location. And they said, okay, we've got to cross this river. And we're like, okay. And didn't think much of it. And we just start going across. Well, halfway across, my poor little boy, the water was running very high because it had been storming the past few weeks beforehand.
Sure.
So it was running pretty fast and pretty high, and he was only like 13 hands. He was a little Pasifino. That poor little boy, I think the water hit his belly, and it was cold. It was very cold.
And he's like,
and he was like, woo!
right?
And, well, I'll get to that in a
Sounds
second.
like me getting in a swimming pool.
Yeah, you're like, woo! Yeah. He started bucking. He did not like it.
In the river.
And I
In
held
the river.
on until about the third good buck, and then I came off.
Oh,
It was cold. It was wet.
Because
And
now
my-
here I am the second. Well, actually, that was probably the third time. I'm behind her, and when her horse started bucking, my horse was getting upset. So I gave heavy left hand rein, and I just started circling him, give him something to think about other than that. And we went around one time, and I see Shelley doing this. Went around the second time, I see Shelley doing this. Went around the third time, and I had this white flash of horse goes by me, and then Shelley's in the river.
Yeah.
And I had to make that decision again, Brad. Do I save my wife, or do I go after her horse? And I saw that she was like alive and breathing, and all the other people were around her. So I spun around and shot off after her horse.
oh, he was the hero.
Yeah.
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 He left
I-
you to drown,
I
but he
did-
got the
I
horse.
did the right thing.
He got the
Always
horse.
get the
Yeah.
horse.
He's like, our friends are there. He's like,
Yeah.
you should be able to take care of
Ah,
me.
she can swim.
Yeah, and
can
yeah,
swim.
I was like, oh, you could swim because I popped up out of the water, and and everyone's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine.
Right.
Well, I'm like, oh my god, this is so cold.
Wow.
And
It was
then
cold
where
mountain
is
water.
Tweak?
He went up. We thought he was going to run back to camp.
Mhm.
No, that boy decides to run up the other mountain. We were like, what? What do you do?
What kind of distance do you guys travel now in camping? How far? Is it mostly
So we've been up to
About-
Virginia.
Virginia.
like 2 or
North
3 hour
Carolina,
radius?
2, 3 hour, 4
Yeah.
hour. 4 hours is the most we've done.
Yeah.
We'd like to go to places like Hocking Hills, Ohio. You know, which, I've heard like Shawnee is beautiful.
Mhm.
I mean, places that are about 8 hours away. We'd like to start doing that type of. But
We've done the Smokies. We've done the
Yeah.
Appalachian.
Yeah. What's your favorite? You have a go-to?
oh,
I mean,
Kind of like a restaurant, you know. We were
Oh,
all
yes,
always our
yeah.
go-to restaurant.
it's like your
yeah.
kids. It's like, how can you pick one?
Right.
Pick one,
Each
yeah.
one is unique. So like we went to Grayson Highlands, and they have wild ponies.
Wild ponies that run
Which
around you, which that was really
you-
neat. Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden you're riding down a trail, and there's a herd of wild horses,
Yeah.
and you're like, wow, wild horses.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you're watching your horse's reaction to them, and you're watching their reaction to you. So I mean, that's unique.
Yeah, that
Um,
was very unique.
But there are other parks. Each park and most of them are part of a national forest, and every one of them is absolutely stunningly beautiful. Some of them have trails that go up to a mountain where have a waterfall.
Right.
Where was that?
Yeah, Grayson Highlands was
South Mountain.
South Mountain was
Had that.
was neat. But I think I really liked Bryson City.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Tennessee.
It was
Bryson?
North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right on the border.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you went up the mountain enough, you could cross over. So, yeah.
Yeah. And what's your typical stay? A couple nights, or do you do much longer?
3 to 4 nights.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problems with having enough water supply, or do most places have a?
Are you kidding? Water supply. We special ordered this trailer with an extra water.
extra water
tank.
Yes, but what? 2020 or 19?
2020.
When you
yeah, I
ordered?
think we contacted you in 19.
19,
and
so it's
finally
been-
made the decision in 2020.
Been about 5 years now. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember all the specs. I look forward to kind of going
Yeah.
through it and
Yeah.
seeing what all it has. What did you do with the water? What's extra?
We had a second tank put underneath, just so that we would have.
On the bottom side,
On the
outside.
Yeah.
Okay, so one's like under a sofa or dinette,
Yep,
probably.
one's
Yeah,
the
one's
sofa.
under the sofa.
You have to turn a
yeah.
valve and
Yeah.
Yeah.
switch to the other tank. So yeah, you guys probably have like what, 80 or 100 gallons?
No, I
About
think it's about
70.
70.
70.
Okay.
70
Yeah.
gallons.
Plenty
yeah.
of water.
So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So looking after horses, what's a typical day look like for you guys? Mike gets up at 4:30. He does all the feeding, cooks you breakfast.
Brad, are you watching
sure.
me? I mean,
Sure, I know. You have a camera in the house?
Yeah. Yeah, brings you breakfast in bed with the
Yeah.
orange juice and the fresh flour.
Oh, yeah. No, it's usually like a dog lick to the face.
Oh.
Okay. It's time to, when the alarm goes off and
Right.
it's like, okay, time to go feed the horses and
Yeah.
feed the dogs. And yeah.
Yeah. And how many horses do you have, by the way?
We have 4.
Okay.
We have
Well,
4. 2 are retired and the other 2 are active.
cool. So for our listeners that have not ever owned horses, what does a typical day look like in care and maintenance and work on the farm?
Work on the farm. Okay, it's early mornings.
It's early, 6
Yeah,
a.m.
6 a.m. We get up. I mean, I know some people get up earlier, but we've tried to get our routine as simple as possible.
Right.
It starts with we have one horse with Cushing's, so we have medicines that we have to give him twice a day, so that we've fortunately come up with an easy system with that we mix up his medicine in some applesauce and we put it in a syringe, and he takes that orally. So we've gotten it as part of our routine, and it's really not terrible. So I know,
Right.
but we prepare his medicine. We come out. We have one horse that likes to nicker to us as soon as we open the door. He's excited to see us because he knows breakfast is coming.
Yeah.
And go out, and Mike will get their grain together, and we put some water in it so they don't choke. Because we have one old girl, she's 31 this year, and we'll make sure
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't have any issues with that, because she has choked on us once, and
Right.
ever since then we make sure we put the water in it. But anyways, then we already have a hay bale and a round bale set
Mhm.
up in a feeder, so we never have to actually give them hay each day. They have the ability to just eat as they'd like to.
Right.
That's under a slow feed net. But anyways, back to the grain part, because that's their favorite part. We give them each their little bowls of grain that they'll eat, and if there's, you know, some of them take some supplements, like some joint supplements, to make sure they're comfortable. And
then the best part, picking up poop.
Every day.
every day,
Yeah.
Many
every
times
day.
a day.
Because right now they're on the dry lot,
Mm-hmm.
because the grass is not growing, because we're still in winter time.
Yeah.
But probably next month we'll start to see it sprout up. And
Yeah.
then they're excited, and they're always, let us out, let us out.
So you guys are passionate. You're passionate about your babies, your
Yes.
horses. I mean, it's a
Yes.
huge emotional connection just
Yeah,
every day
they're
of your
part
life.
the family. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, we made the commitment. We have 2 older ones, and we, you know, made the commitment that they're here.
What happens
Really fast.
when we're off trail riding with the other 2? What about the retirees?
The retirees.
Yeah.
My sister is willing to take care of the retirees.
Okay,
So, yeah.
Sis gets to
Thanks,
do the poop.
Carol.
Sis gets to do the poop, and thank you, Carol.
You are the favorite,
My favorite sister. Yes.
That's right. Perhaps the only one, but still the favorite. I don't know.
So she'll watch the dogs for us and take care of the two retirees. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's easier to take care of 2 than 4. The 4 make her a little nervous, only because my mare likes to get in your face, and she's not
spirited. I
she's
think is the
spirited, but she's not mean or
Yeah.
you know, trying to hurt you. She just, you know, is like, hey,
Right.
what you got?
And it's easier when we go camping. It's generally the pastures are growing. The other horses can just go out on pasture, so they're a lot
Yeah.
easier to take care of
Right.
during the growing season.
Yeah.
Because they'll spend half the day,
on
or
the
sometimes
pasture.
we'll just leave them out all night on pasture.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk horse trailers,
All right.
right?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember how you stumbled on us? What kind of the path, the journey to at least put us together? I don't
Sure.
remember.
Sure. Well, what happened is we had a 3-horse trailer. I won't say the brand.
That's okay. It didn't matter.
Well, we had.
Unless it's a negative. Unless it's something negative you're going to say. Then we won't
Well,
mention
yeah,
the brand.
that's why I'm not going to.
We'll move on then.
Let's
Not
just
gonna
Cut.
say the brand.
Let's just say it was light.
Let's just say I'm light. Yeah.
Oh my
And we had
Nice.
an incident with one of the horses. We were at a parking lot, and we had them on high ties.
Right?
And the one horse, someone came flying into the parking lot, which always shocks us.
Always
but
that person.
People, there's always one
Yeah,
person out
always
there
that person. Please don't be that person.
yeah, please drive slow into the parking
Slow
lot
down.
if you see horses out, please. I wouldn't necessarily say panicked, but he spooked a little, and he pulled back on the high tie
Sure.
because it startled
And we're not
him.
talking about a Clydesdale either. We're talking about a Bashkir Curly who's
He's only barely 15 hands
Yeah.
high.
Yeah,
and
it's 1,000, 1,100 pounds or
yeah,
so.
you know, probably right around 1,000 pounds. Generally extremely calm.
Right.
But this was enough that we came up behind him and it kind of startled
Yeah,
him.
freaked him a
so
little.
he was like, whoa. And he pulled the back end of the trailer off.
peeled it.
Peeled it like a tin can. And
Oh, snap.
yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. That
Wow.
just happened.
We're like, what just happened? Yeah.
So I thought
So
that
it probably, did they not have the tie bolted all the way through with a plate on the
no.
end?
It did. The problem
They did.
with this particular trailer is rather than
Yeah.
having fully boxed frame, it was
just a
C-channel.
C-channel.
Yes, yeah.
And so it literally pulled that side of the trailer and pulled it through those C-channels.
Right, right. So it pulled through the C and then ripped the sheet metal off too.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Yeah. We were
was a
kind
bit
of
of a
standing there
shock.
like,
yeah,
what just happened?
yeah.
So I don't know. It was
I don't know why you would want to get rid of that trailer just because that happened.